Hello, friends. Welcome back to Story History. It's so good to have you here. July 356 BC. The city of Pella, Macedonia. A cry echoed through the royal palace. This was Alexander, whom the world would one day call the Great. His father was Philip II, the powerful king of Macedonia. His mother was Olympias, a mysterious and strong-willed princess of Epirus. She claimed Alexander was no ordinary man's son. He was the offspring of the Greek god Zeus. Alexander believed this his entire life. On the very night he was born, the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus burned to the ground. People said the goddess had left to witness the birth of a great king. From childhood, two things were remarkable about Alexander: extraordinary intelligence and a burning desire to always be first. At 13, a wild horse named Bucephalus was brought for sale. No rider could control him. Philip ordered him sent back. Alexander stepped forward and noticed the horse was afraid of his own shadow. He turned the horse toward the sun, calmly approached, and leaped onto his back. Philip's eyes filled with tears. "My son, Macedonia is not worthy of you. You need a much greater kingdom." Bucephalus remained Alexander's loyal companion for life. At 13, Philip appointed the great philosopher Aristotle as Alexander's personal teacher. They studied in the gardens of Mieza beneath the open sky. Aristotle taught him Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. Alexander fell in love with the hero Achilles and made him his lifelong ideal. He always kept two things under his pillow: a copy of the Iliad and a dagger. 336 BC. Philip was assassinated at a wedding. Alexander was only 20 years old, yet he became king overnight. Rebellions broke out everywhere. To send a clear message, Alexander destroyed the city of Thebes. 6,000 killed, the city burned to ash. Only the house of the poet Pindar was spared, out of respect for poetry. Greece fell silent. The message was received. 334 BC. Alexander marched toward Asia with 35,000 men. Before leaving, he visited Troy and laid flowers at the tomb of his idol Achilles. His first clash with Persian forces came at the Battle of the Granicus, a swift and brilliant victory. The gates of Asia swung open. 333 BC. The Persian king Darius III took the field with over 100,000 men. Alexander had only 40,000. Alexander personally led the cavalry in a direct charge at Darius. The Persian army panicked. Darius fled, abandoning his mother, wife, and children. Alexander treated the royal family with complete dignity and respect. When Darius offered half his empire and his daughter's hand in marriage as peace terms, Alexander's general Parmenio said, "I would accept if I were you." Alexander replied, "So would I if I were Parmenio." The offer was rejected. 332 BC. Egypt welcomed Alexander as a liberator from Persian rule. The priests declared him pharaoh and son of the god Amun. He founded a new city on the Mediterranean coast, Alexandria, which became the greatest center of knowledge in the ancient world. Its library was the largest ever built. In total, Alexander founded over 20 cities bearing his name. 331 BC. Darius gathered over 200,000 men on a flat plain in present-day Iraq. Alexander had 47,000. The night before battle, Alexander slept soundly. His generals woke him in panic. He smiled. The battle is already decided. He charged directly at Darius. Darius fled once again. Alexander captured and burned Persepolis, revenge for the Persian burning of Athens. Darius was later murdered by his own men. When Alexander found his body, he covered it with his own cloak and ordered a royal burial. He was a king, even if my enemy. In Afghanistan and Central Asia, Alexander faced guerrilla warfare in mountains and snow, his toughest fighting yet. One tragic night, in a drunken argument, Alexander killed his closest childhood friend, Cletus, the man who had once saved his life in battle. He wept for 3 days and refused all food. "I have killed my own friend." It haunted him forever. He also married Roxana, a Bactrian chieftain's daughter, a marriage of both love and politics. Alexander marched his army back through the Gedrosian desert of Balochistan, a catastrophic decision. Thousands of soldiers died of thirst and heat. Alexander walked among them on foot, refusing to ride while his men suffered. Back in Babylon, his closest companion, Hephaestion, fell ill and died. Alexander grieved for months, refusing food, weeping without stop. He was broken inside. 323 BC, Babylon. Alexander fell ill with a fever that never broke. His entire army passed through his chamber one last time to see him. He met every gaze, but could no longer speak. Asked, "To whom do you leave your empire?" He said, "To the strongest." June 10th, 323 BC. Alexander the Great closed his eyes. He was only 32 years old. Alexander the Great, before his death, made wishes to his generals. The path to his grave should be scattered with gold, silver, and jewels, so people would see that the wealth he spent his whole life collecting means nothing at death. Both his hands should be left hanging outside the shroud, so that the world could see that he came empty-handed and is leaving empty-handed.